What are we doing here? Why are we here? While you may not ask these questions every day as you make your way to school, we are here because of fear. Fear, well, what fear? It's just the fear of failure. We fear that without education, we won't be able to get a proper, good paying job, despite the fact that we constantly complain about how boring school actually is, and constantly complain when piled on the mountains of homework and assignments. You'd rather be anywhere but here, and you're always free to leave, but you don't. In fact, you're free to make your own decisions in life, but then again, they all have consequences. You have to pay if you make a bad choice, and so you just don't make bad choices. But it's not that simple, and this is all because of fear. Fear influences the actions that you make every day, whether you like it or not. We don't walk around fearing for our life. In fact, we hardly ever think of this natural instinct that is essential for our survival. We avoid things and situations that seem dangerous to us. For example, humans have a fear of snakes and spiders, because humans evolved alongside these dangerous creatures. Chapman University's Survey on American Fears found that 51% of Americans are afraid of snakes, while 30% are afraid of spiders. We fear things that don't seem natural even if it is part of nature, such as these creepy crawlies. Having a abnormal amount of legs may seem scary, or perhaps even 100 legs. We all fear different things. Take Billy Bob, for example. Once upon a time, he touched a red-hot pan, which was sizzling on the stovetop. Because it hurt so much as it burned off his skin and made his flesh cover in smoke, he learned not to do it ever again. This is how we learn and how we survive. We don't just walk onto a busy highway, and we don't go swimming with alligators, because that would risk our lives. Death is one of the greatest fears of all, and so we will do anything for our self-preservation. The actions that we make every day revolve around fear, but they don't always make sense. Our instincts are adaptive, but they haven't got up to our modern, man-made environments just yet. We can have irrational fears, no matter the amount of odds, facts, and statistics that others may throw at you. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, 90% of Americans fear things that are considered insignificant, while 60% fear things that will never happen to them. You're 2 times more likely to die from a bee sting than from going on a plane, and 100 times more people die walking. These numbers, even though the odds of dying is so statistically small, still won't reassure the millions of nervous flyers. This is because people are stubborn, and it's very difficult to change our minds when what we need convincing about is our deaths. People lose out on experiences because we just don't know, and this quickly manifests into a form of dread hanging over your life. Some people are convinced that they will win the lottery one day. They shell out money every single day, which can even be considered as a tax. According to the CBC, they are 20 times more likely to be killed by a flesh-eating disease than win the lottery, and yet people fear the little things. Whole industries are built on odds, greed, and on fear. Insurance companies, casinos, gun manufacturers, pharmaceuticals, they all thrive and feed off of people's greatest fears, and we let them. Once our minds are set on something, it is set in stone. We are far more concerned with insignificant everyday issues rather than the ones that actually matter. Fear can lead to paranoia and delusion as it takes over our better judgments. We overreact to make bad decisions when faced with fear. Our survival instinct is now putting us in harm's way. In reality, most of the danger that we face is of our own creation. The tragedies across the world are portrayed by the media in an obsessive nature. As we constantly hear and watch the horrifying details, we have a tendency to personalize the events. What we observe becomes our own personal experiences. Because of the trauma of these events, we are making our fear response ever more sensitive. Being activated at the sight of a spider, we go running for our lives. We can also trade in our freedoms in the name of safety. 9/11 and the war on terror that ensued afterwards could be seen as a wild goose chase with an unknown target, one that dispersed throughout the entire world like a tidal wave of fear. Our ever-connected world is now bringing these horrifying events to our doorsteps, and we just aren't ready for it. Some start to fear everything, while others would build a wall. This is the face of a scared little man. He thinks that walls will solve all of his problems. But while walls may keep some problems out, they certainly keep all problems in. It may seem like a silly idea, but millions of people are behind this due to fear. This ideology of Trumpness has been provoked due to a demand to protect people against fear. And so this wall building is a reactionary measure to protect us. Similar to shutting the front door when sensing a death is nearby, the death of a nation. But fear is our protector. It prevents us from jumping into the ocean or running into a fire. Our lives would certainly be different without fear, the terrifying monster within us all. However, it is here and it will stay. We shouldn't hide it, but neither should we embrace it. We can avoid the small little fears in us, and it would be better off for us in the long run. In the meantime, the media spreads and churns out fear while corporations feed off of and profit from it. Even the government is part of the circus act, and rightly so, as this is what authority is ultimately based on, fear. It quickly becomes quite clear the bias here. Fear sells, and there's nothing you can do about it.